And welcome back to another Caveman's Corner. I'm here with the Raging Butterfly, Forrest Dens. How you doing today, Forrest?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Last time I got talked to a little bit about saying fuck, shit, piss, damn, cocksucker, and all the bad words a little bit. I'll try and do better to not swear this time. What happened this time and last time is we had a little technical difficulties getting the show started. So I was cussing a little bit, and then I kind of just carried into doing the podcast. And I like to swear and look at Forrest's face when I swear. If you, we've talked about swearing before on podcasts a bunch of times, but Forrest is a really good kid. He's very educated. He knows that swearing makes you sound stupid. So he laughs when I say it because it sounds stupid. And he doesn't like to sound stupid, so he doesn't really swear so much.
I laugh because it sounds funny.
It is funny. And if you use cussing in the correct manner, it can be hilarious.
It was funny on the story from the Buick 8 sometimes, too.
Yeah, because it's a little inappropriate. Inappropriate would be the correct word, I believe.
I meant, just the way that the narrator was saying some of the stuff, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think so, too. I really...
That was a good narrator.
Yeah, using cussing is a good art form. We've been listening to CDs in the car and rides, and... So Forrest got to listen to some Stephen King stuff.
I think so far, only the first two had good narrators. I think the narrators for the rest of them are just...
Yeah, that grass one's not too good. The new one sounds not too bad, the ambulance one.
But the guy, talks so low, it's almost like a whisper.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to hear sometimes.
Well, Mom keeps it down a little bit, too, because she doesn't like to be distracted when she's driving. So we could probably maybe turn it up a little bit so it whispers a little bit louder.
Just the way that...
Sounds like Mr. Ray on the Caveman's Corner podcast. Whisper, whisper.
And then the way that the first guy, they picked the best guy to narrate the library policeman one.
Yeah.
He was perfect for that one.
Yeah, he was really good. Not quite as good as I would be reading that. The library policeman.
That book would be 2 hours longer if you narrated it that way.
Yeah.
It would.
Oh, man. So what's going on today? I heard you had some questions about nutrition or... sex ed, I don't know. What were we talking about? You should see Forrest's face. I wish I had this one on camera. He really did ask me about
I was
about
just
calories and stuff.
I was just thinking mostly about how to diet correctly and what to cut out and how much to have of the good stuff like the proteins and stuff.
Don't eat any food and work out all the time and you'll be as skinny as you want. You should probably drink a little bit of water. Just a little bit.
So,
So, what exactly are you looking to accomplish?
Well, kind of walk me through the differences of, weight cutting dieting while also trying to maintain a, big body. And then, diets for, people that, actors. And then diets for professional athletes that are trying to get as big as possible.
Well, we'll go through it as we're doing it drug-free, right? Mm-hmm. Because obviously if you want to get bigger, a lot of people take steroids and that changes stuff. I don't really know too much about the science of dieting with steroids because I don't really do that. So I'm not maybe the best person to give dieting advice either. I mean, actually...
Do you think The Rock uses steroids? I
don't know. Maybe probably using WWE. Probably a lot of those guys use steroids. I don't know, though. Seems like a stand-up guy, but that doesn't mean he didn't use steroids.
Yeah.
He's a giant, colossal man, though. He's a warrior, dude. He's from warrior people, He was made to... If he was on a giant horse back in the day before there were guns, he's going to wreck your world. He's going to own everything. He's going to have women. He's going to have the crown. He's going to own everything, How are you going to stop that guy?
He's 6'2", probably close to 250, right?
I don't know. He's probably throw Mustafa around.
I know.
Not Muhammad, though. He would throw Mustafa around when Mustafa had hips that works and knees. I guarantee that.
But he's at least 6'2", and he's probably close to 250, 270, right?
I don't know. I can look it up, I guess. Actually, I'll do it on my phone. It'll probably be a lot faster. So, basically, what we're talking about with the diet.
So, how do you think he diets? What do you think he eats for breakfast?
The Rock?
Yeah, breakfast.
His diet is actually it's online, so we could look it up and actually watch it.
Isn't it like 6,000 calories or something crazy?
Yeah, it's something insane. He eats like so much food.
And
It'd
then he
make you
works out.
sick. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
If even if you tried to eat that much and then you were working out like a professional fighter without a job, I think you'd be sick.
Probably. That's what got GSP sick. He got that stomach disease because he was eating too much, too often, and he got sick from it. And he was having a hard time keeping the weight on still.
Yeah, because if you're trying to get big like The Rock,
Uh-huh.
you need to consume a lot of calories. So there's something
Right.
there, and then do a lot of power training, like for your arms and stuff.
His official ring weight and height is 6 feet 4 inches tall, 260 pounds, from Miami, Florida.
That's ridiculous.
And he's actually 5 years older than I am.
He's 45.
Yes.
Dang.
Well, he's born in 72. I was born in 77. I don't know. Could be a couple months difference.
Yeah.
Could be 44. He could be 46. I don't know. It doesn't say what month. It just says the year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what about like for you, like somebody who's trying to cut down from about 160 to 145, but trying to keep a muscular body?
For me, going from 160 to 145 is pretty much my normal cut. Keeping at 160 sometimes a challenge because I balloon up sometimes. Probably 65, 68, which is a lot harder cut for me. So what I do is I normally eat about, when I'm training, I'm training for a fight. So I'm training mostly 2 times a day. And the training I do is very rigorous, right? So when I'm in that camp, I'm usually taking about 2,800 calories a day. Maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. But I set my goal for 2,800 calories a day. And I eat more, a lot of carbs. I eat a lot of protein, and I eat fat too. I eat all the good stuff. And I try and keep my sodium intake high.
Sodium? Why?
'Cause
Isn't
that-
sodium like terrible for you?
Yeah, it's bad for you, and it helps you retain water. And then when I cut the sodium out, I like to have my body used to it. So I start taking a little bit more sodium than I normally would. So I eat a little bit more processed foods. I eat some more, stuff from the gas station, which is not the way to increase your sodium. You should really just put it on your food. But I'm not the best with dieting because I'm not very rigorous. But I'm disciplined on the calories all the time.
Okay, so
So I do that for if I'm, usually about 8 weeks for a fight camp. So I usually do that to week 4. And usually my weight will fluctuate between doing that 150, 160, depending on how much water I cut for practice. About a month out, I continue the same Actually, I probably step up the conditioning and stuff. And I cut back the calories about 500 calories a day. So I get to 2,200. Because it takes the weight off slower. So normally I'll get down to about 158 now before I start my cut to 45. In the old days, when I was originally fighting 45, I didn't like to cut that much weight the day before. So what I would do is I would restrict my diet to about 1,200 calories a day for that last month. And I'd get down to about 4 to 6 pounds overweight and cut the rest then.
that's awful for you.
Yeah, it's pretty bad for a month. What the problem with dieting correctly to get down that weight, you look shredded, right? You've seen the old pictures of me, how shredded I look.
Oh my god.
And it's great, but you feel like shit,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't have enough calories to get through the workouts. And what I found is I fight worse because what happens is you survive practice. You don't go to practice to get better. You just do it because you have to do it, and you have to survive, and you have to get better.
So that's part of you being. So that's part of the reason why you're moving better now too, right?
No, I'm moving better because it's been a concerted effort moving better.
Yeah.
I've always had good cardio, but I have better cardio now because of that, eating better. I have more energy in practice, so I have even better practices. I look better in practice because I eat and I have energy to get through the whole thing,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
So now I've been doing that, and that's been working out great for me. The cut sucks balls, though. When you cut 10, 12, 14 pounds of water, it's tough. I water load, and then I desodium. So I take the sodium out of my diet the last week, and I load up water, so I drink 2 gallons a day, and then a day out, and that's why I pee all the time right by the fight time. That's why you see me peeing all the time, and then at the end I cut out the water, and your body's still peeing while you're cutting weight, so it helps the weight cut, and you dry out like a raisin. You see me how bad I get sometimes before the fights, you know?
Terrible.
Yep.
All right, now if I put you into a situation, you're like 5'11", right? So what if now you're trying to get to like real buff, like 180, 190, 190?
I was 190 when I got married. To mom. I was fat as fuck. I was fat. No, I'm minus the bad F word.
Yeah.
Yeah, no F word. I didn't say that. I
Okay.
just said fat.
So now.
Why are you saying bad words, Forrest?
All right, now. Now, what if you're 5'11", right?
Yeah, I'm trying to put weight on.
Yeah, and you're trying to get to 185, 190, and just look giant.
Well, see, this is the problem I've been having. That's never really been a long-term plan of mine. But I increased my calories the same as I was, about 26 to 2,800. Because more than that, I feel like crap. Like I just get too fat and bloated, and I don't really get good workouts in.
Well, then how would you gain weight? Because then you can't put on any weight.
I do less cardio. I don't work out as hard. I lift weights more. I go to a more stringent weightlifting routine to cut the weight. Like I do a lot of functional strength training now when I'm trying to get bigger, like in between fights sometimes, just to have the appearance of being bigger, because this really doesn't make you stronger. Like when I go to LA Fit to lift weights, a lot of times it's not really making me stronger. It's making me look better.
So what would make you stronger just with your arms?
Just with my arms?
Yeah.
Choking people? Like kettlebell work, some of the stuff I do, explosive movements, like lifting a weight and putting it down like 50, 60 times is not the ideal way to get stronger. You want to do like full body workouts, because what we do in jiu-jitsu is like when we squeeze people, we're not just using our arms, right? We're using our arms, our legs, our core, changing on their side. We're using our balance. So
don't you do a lot of core workouts then to help your balance and your core strength?
Yeah, I've been working with Dr. Kroll, and I've been doing more flexibility stuff, more range of motion stuff. Actually, easier exercises, but it makes me stronger.
Jeez.
Because I'm more flexible.
Imagine if you did this before you start. Imagine you had all this before you started fighting.
I didn't have the resources I have now.
Yeah, but if you had the resources, you would be a killer.
I would have been. I think it could have been pretty good, man.
You would have been like.
I think if I just would have chased the dream a little bit more, if I would have just gave up on work, I think I could have been somebody a little bit more than I was.
Yeah, well, you can't really do that once you like.
Once you have kids, yeah. If I would have kept my pecker in my pants instead of making a baby, I could have chased my dream, But
some of the fighters have kids, but
Right.
usually like they have really young kids.
Yeah, well, Dustin was really young when I was fighting.
No,
You weren't even born yet when it first started.
No, like all the UFC fighters, like once you get there, they usually have like really little kids. Like
Once you're there, you can afford to do it. Once you're in a big show, that's when it's okay.
If you got to Bellator, you probably could have gotten.
There was no Bellator. There was no money in it when I was young. So I would be the champ. I make 20 grand. I make less than I made it working. That's the reality.
Bellator?
No, there was no Bellator when I was in my career. There was nothing. There was UFC, then there was King of the Cage. That was it, really.
So King of the Cage was like.
King of the Cage was the shit, dude.
Yeah.
That was one of my dreams of my life, to fight in King of the Cage, and I did it, and I won in 4 fucking seconds. So chase your dreams, dude. Like you can do whatever your dreams are, man. You can really, really can. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is like put hard work in and chase the plan your way. But always listen to mentors, dude. There's so many people around me now that I listen to that I didn't have when I was coming up. If I had those, you're right, everything would be different. That's why our guys now are really good. Like Pat Mix is really good. Solomon's really good. Like Superfly's really good. All the up and coming guys are really good. They're all really good because they have guys to listen to.
And they have resources.
And they have the resources. And there's a bunch of us together in one place. When I was fighting, it was like me and Mr. Kevin Cummings and Mr. Keith, and we didn't really know what we were doing. And Professor Chuck wasn't really there all the time to help us. And it was just us punching each other in the face, learning how to get tough. And then we went to Victory, and Victory quite wasn't what it is now. It was just a bunch of killers beating the crap out of each other every day. You know, I just went there to get my face punched in. And, like, we don't really train like that now. We're a little bit more educated and a little bit more savvy. And, you know, things are different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, if we're going back to the weight thing.
Right.
You know, like, John Jones is 205 and he looks beastly.
John Jones got arrested for steroids.
Well, yeah. But it's kind of crazy. Like, how do you think his diet works?
I think he eats whatever the hell he wants to eat because I don't think he's really that disciplined of an athlete. I think some of it's steroids because I do believe that he was taking steroids. I have no inside information on that. I have no idea.
Obviously.
But he got busted for it. And if you get busted for it, it seems kind of like you're probably doing it. Although they just say it was something else. But who knows? You know what I mean? Like, you don't really know. But he does heavy powerlifting. He does cleans and snatches. He's doing Olympic lifting. He's doing the stuff that I was talking about, as well as lifting weights and eating what he wants. And he's just a giant specimen of an athlete, you know? If you're in the gym all the time, working out, resting, recovering, taking the proper nutrition, and, you know, he's got people telling him exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Because he's got the money to do that.
Yeah.
If you have that, man, the sky's the limit. I don't have all the knowledge that I would need to put that weight on because that's not my area of expertise.
All right. You know, what about something crazy like an offensive lineman in the NFL trying to keep above 300 pounds? How do you do that without killing yourself by eating too much?
Those guys are killing themselves by eating too much. If you go and there's probably a lot of documentaries you can watch. Maybe not so many on Netflix, but you can definitely find some on YouTube of football players that are just stuffing their faces and they have to eat so much and do all this stuff just to keep their weight up so they don't lose their job, especially offensive linemen, because they seem to be a little bit small and a little bit more educated and they don't like to eat as much. So usually you see them when they leave the NFL, they either shrink down like 100 pounds or they get really, really big and fat because they keep eating like that and they don't work out anymore.
Well, there's this one guy, Joe Thomas, he just retired from the Browns. He dropped 50 pounds quick, but then there's this guy on NFL Network named Sean O'Hara, and he just started dropping. He just started losing 50 pounds. So, is it okay for offensive linemen after they retire to go down slowly?
They probably take it off really quickly because they're doing so much to keep it on. When you stop doing that, the weight just shreds right off.
Yeah.
Last week I was 170 because I stopped doing the diet that I really like, and I'll talk about in a second, right? And I started back on the diet this week. Dude, I'm down to 160 already. I lost 10 pounds in what is today, Thursday? I lost 10 pounds since Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm just not eating whatever I want whenever I want.
So basically, you just need a lot of money and stuff your face to get big and strong and muscular looking?
No, to get big, you need to get stuff your face. To get strong and muscular looking, you need to eat just enough that you don't get too fat, and you need to work out really hard and lift a lot of weights and stretch and strain your muscles.
Yeah.
So your muscles are rebuilding themselves. So a lot of people take the protein powder with the amino chain acids that help you rebuild your muscles bigger and stronger and better. And it's a game of taking the right supplement at the right time, keeping your insulin levels at the right spot, and so there's a lot of stuff. Gracie's dad actually does this for a living, so he'd be a good guy to ask sometime. Maybe we could have him on the podcast.
Yeah. That'd be a good podcast about nutrition.
Did you ever see him without a shirt on?
Yeah, you showed me the pictures.
Yeah, dude, he's gigantic.
He's huge.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're in a professional sport, if you're in football, those guys just eat a lot.
Most of them do, yeah. Some of them are naturally big, but yeah, they eat a lot.
Yeah. So, what about basketball? How do you get into the shape that the kind of shape that the basketball players are in?
Well, they're more lean, so they're usually eating pretty lean diets for they're big dudes, so they're eating a lot of calories. I mean, your calories are based on how much you weigh. So your weight dictates how many calories you take. So them guys are taking a lot of calories, but they're doing a lot of explosive workouts too, and they're not trying to put the weight on, so they don't need to eat as much, and they probably have to rein it in a little bit. They can't get too fat or they're gonna lose their spot.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to know is, for sure, like coming into this podcast, is there like an amount of protein that is so much that it can actually harm your body?
If it's too much, you usually poop it out, so it's not really too bad. But it can hurt your kidneys if you take too much. I mean, you don't want to really eat more grams of protein than your body weight too much, because your body, I forgot what it is, but your body can only digest so much protein at a time. So after that, the rest is just wasted.
So right now, you wouldn't want to eat more than 120 grams of protein, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I weigh way more than 120.
I know, but just to be safe, so you don't.
Yeah, I usually try and eat my body weight sometimes. I don't know.
So
It depends on what I eat, because
yeah.
I usually am not trying to get big, dude. I'm just trying to maintain. So I eat a little bit more fat, too, because I feel like it keeps my joints a little bit healthier when people are trying to rip them off.
Yeah. So you're talking about fat from chicken and stuff, right?
No, like, meat fat or fat that's in stuff.
Yeah. Fat from like meat, not fat from like stuff that isn't made with meat.
From stuff. I eat this amount of fat, because fat can be from whatever. Not just like the pork fat. It's just fat in your diet.
Well, even like bad fats, the fats that like stay in you and actually make you fat.
All fats will do that. But it's more carbs that store in your body than fat. So the more carbs you eat, the more likely you are to store it. Because your body stores carbs first. It burns fat first and stores carbs.
So if you want to look really tiny, don't eat a lot of carbs.
Yeah, that's why you see girls that don't eat a lot of carbs. They're always eating salad instead of pasta. So I go around, I slurp up their pasta. You wanted to look beautiful anyways. You just want to be nice and fat.
But aren't carbs necessary?
Oh my god, dude, you yelled right into the mic. It hurt my ears.
Aren't carbs necessary to?
Yeah, you need a certain amount of carbs to get through your day. That's what gives your body energy.
Yeah, but don't you also need to eat more carbs to get bigger?
Yeah, carbs help you get bigger too. Carbs, protein, because there's more calories in carbs than there are in protein, and there's more calories in fat than there are in carbs. So you gotta get your caloric input in there,
So it's a lot of science and math.
Yeah, it's a lot more than I can explain to you in this podcast that's already 3 minutes too long.
Okay.
But I want to get into the diet I'm doing now. I like that. I'm doing that fasting diet. So I fast for 16 hours, and then I eat for the rest of the day. So for like the 8 hours. So I eat.
So you don't eat till like 4. So then you
No, I fast 18. I eat 6. So I eat from 4 to 10 usually. Or if I'm not going to eat past 10, I usually start eating at 5. Or if I'm going to go out or something, I change my schedule. But I try and fast 18 and eat 6.
Yeah. So if like you're going to the drive-in, you wouldn't eat till like 6.
Yeah, or
so
later.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I have a cheat day if I do a drive-in, because we go like once a year. But
once a year?
How many times have we gone this year?
Once.
Once a year.
Wait. Oh yeah, once.
One
we've
time.
We've been going to the theater a lot more.
Yeah, we have been going to theater a lot more.
Why is that?
Because I don't know.
I enjoy the drive-in. It's fun.
Yeah, I like the drive-in too.
Yeah.
We should have a whole podcast about the drive-in tomorrow. Drive-in stories.
Drive-in, fireside chat, and football other podcasts.
First in 96, because Forrest's predictions are not so good.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So, the fasting diet. I try and get 2,500 calories in those 6 hours.
Why?
Because
isn't that kind of like making you sick?
Yeah, I get a little bloated, and my farts stink right about now, right? Because it's a pretty stinky fart earlier.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it makes you want to die.
It's terrible.
But I listened to the GSP podcast with Joe Rogan, and he talked about intermittent fasting, and I was having stomach problems. And he was training, and he was always feeling bloated, and he didn't feel good. And I'm like, man, that sounds a lot like me. I don't have diverticulitis or whatever like he's got, but what my stomach is a little, it's a little old man stomach, so I need to take a little bit of a rest on it,
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is by not eating, by just having a light snack before I train and not eating all day, I feel great. And I can drink as much water as I want, so I don't feel like depleted like people when you hear people fast, you usually think of like the Muslims, right? Like Mustafa, Muhammad and stuff. But
And
they're
they're
not
not-
drinking water either.
Yeah, they're not allowed to eat or drink, right?
Yeah, and they don't eat from sunset to sunrise. Like they don't eat while the sun's up either. So
That sounds terrible.
what I do is I spike my insulin a little bit by having a bar or something before I go. Usually,
What is insulin?
insulin is like your blood sugar,
Oh,
and when it's high, you feel okay. When it's too high, you feel dizzy. When it's too low, you feel like poop and you get dizzy. So if you're feeling dizzy, your insulin's not right usually. So try and have.
or you span
Yeah.
around a lot.
I usually try and have just a little bit before I go to the gym, and then I coach a kids class, so I have an hour and a half really for it to digest. By the time I get to the gym, I feel great. By the time I'm ready to take my class, my stomach's not full, but I have energy, and it's been a blessing. I've been feeling great. And with that, let's. You got anything else?
Well, you're eating bars, right? So how does the cookie make you feel? Because the cookie is
Well,
way
that's
bigger.
what I'm counting as a bar.
Oh.
But yeah, I've been eating the cookies all week.
The cookie is huge.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good,
460 calories, 16 grams of protein. I don't know how many carbs, but a lot.
It's a meal, pretty much.
Today I had a shake. That was good.
I love shakes.
All right, let's get here. I love you, man. This is a
Love
long
you too.
podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Don't fart. Oh my God, it stinks so bad, Forrest. Oh God, that's gross.
What?
Oh, with your butt.
No, it's not. I didn't fart.